Hi everybody, just a quick note. If you're a listener to the Nerds Domain podcast, you'll need to go back into iTunes or your other podcatching device and resubscribe after May 8th. We'll be switching podcasting hosts, and our new host will require us to resubmit our RSS feed, which messes up some things in iTunes. We'll still be putting out podcasts, everything's going great, but I just want to make sure that all of our listeners are getting our new content from our new RSS feed. Thank you very much. You'll hear us real soon.
A word for our listeners. Masks of Nyarlathotep is set in the 1920s. We will be using terms and sayings from those times, including some that could be considered offensive. It is not our intention to offend. We merely wish to offer as accurate a view of the time period as possible. Welcome to the Nerds Domain presents Masks of Nyarlathotep. Join us each week as our investigators follow a path of clues and attempt to save the world from an ancient evil. Starring John Quiett, Jestin Kimmet, Shirley Niedzwiecki, George Chimples, Jason Hall, and Scott Troiano, with Matt Quiett running the table as keeper. Eldritch evils and crazed cultists await you just beyond this music.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Masks of Nyarlathotep. I'm here with Johnny.
Hello.
George.
Oh.
Jackass. Scott.
Do it!
Justin.
Hi.
And Shirley.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello!
So this is our first episode after the end of our story.
We were sad.
So let's tell some more story.
We lived.
Did you?
If you can call that living.
Really?
Oh, did
So-
we actually really die?
Every man dies, but not every man truly lives.
Deep.
Braveheart taught me that.
Edit all this out.
No! Oh, no! That was gold!
What you failed to realize is at the apartment scene at the very start, we were in the process of dying, and everything from this point was a fever dream.
Yeah, we all failed our sanity checks. If we'd passed them, we'd have known that.
Actually, as I told Scott on Facebook today, it actually was all just the last moments of Wilkerson's life as he died under the pyramid.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, would you have
that
a weird
response?
dream about a bunch of dead people?
You're all figments of my imagination. Boom.
So, let's start with the 5 characters that were left at the end of the game. You all make it back to Shanghai. Where do you guys go from there? Tell me a little bit about your story. We'll start with Chisobo. Chisobo, you're an African gentleman in a strange land. What's going on with you?
I would try to get on as many ships as possible, stay on the water, and kill as many fish things that I see.
Really? So you sign up as a ship's hand?
As a ship's hand, I will start off as low as possible, try to work my way up. I'm absolutely fascinated with the way the sea works.
So do you disappear quickly?
Rather quickly.
Wow. Eva, what happens to you? I'll come back to Eva. Robert, because I can't think of your character's last name.
Livengood.
Livengood, Mr. Livengood. Where are you headed?
I'm going back to Canada.
Canada?
Yeah. I'm going to take the land route as far as possible. Then vigilantly and psychotically stay up for as long as I can for the journey across in case anything climbs out of the water. Probably sitting in my room with my back to an inner bulkhead while stroking my rifle, waiting for something horrible to come through the door.
Question, Mr. Livengood, why didn't you just head north and go over to Russia to Alaska? Very little water. Very little water.
You could hang out with seal hunters.
That probably would be, when looking at a map, a lot less water.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would probably be. So then I make
So
my way.
when you make your way into Alaska and you find the lost Inuit tribe worshipping the toad-shaped black obelisk, what do you do?
Oh, I murder them all. I mean, that's just a pile of face murder.
And
On
that's
my
how
way
you do it
to
in
Saskatchewan, the middle, densest forest part of Canada, where I basically stay as far away from water and folks as I can and lumberjack as much as I can before.
I'm letting you know that is canon, what Johnny just said. I like that. You run into that.
By the way, I hate your face, Johnny.
You find yourself a sled and some dogs.
And
you go from Alaska down, and you come.
And there's some food and mostly ammo. That's what I mean. I'm just basically locked and loaded.
Ma, we'll come to you last, since you'll probably stay in China in some.
Absolutely not staying in China.
Father, where are you headed?
I'm gonna report back into the church. The Vatican.
And the death of all those that were sent with you.
Well, I've got to report what happened.
Okay.
But obviously, somebody there has other knowledge that because they wrote the blank check to get me what I needed. So
you report back to the bishop, who quickly arranges transport for you back to the Vatican City.
Yes, and then I go where the church sends me.
Eva.
You said Ian Byrne wasn't dead, right?
That's correct.
I would track him down, find him, see what was going on.
You
And then
did not send him back. Okay.
I didn't. Where's
No,
he
you
at?
were already insane and out of the picture by the time Ian went.
Yeah,
Crazy pants.
He crazy pants after me.
Okay. You end up back in New York City.
Oh man, I was going to London.
You said you're tracking him down. He's in New York
He's
City.
in New York
I
City.
thought it was in
Well,
Cairo.
I would, if I have to go back to the States to find him, because I'm definitely going back after Weld, but to find out what happened to him, I would go to, not Worthington.
Wilkerson?
No, not Wilkerson. Wilkerson, yes. I would go back to the Wilkerson estate and spend some time. And then go to the States and
Spend some time, like
find my friends.
6 months, a
Yeah.
month. Okay. Ma, where are you headed?
Cairo.
Back to Cairo.
Ma's motivation was always he had a survivor's mindset, and so he did what he needed to survive so that he could get to the point where he could make up for all the bad things that he'd done. He didn't enjoy torturing people or being a leg breaker. It was just stuff that he had to do. Mm-hmm. And especially with this latest thing involving this ritual that he wasn't entirely comfortable with but felt was necessary, involving the deaths of so many people, he's done just doing things to survive and now has decided he's going to try and do good. So he goes back to Cairo, to where that mosque was that was destroyed, and he wants to go and help those people, help rebuild it, and then also kind of move amongst the poor of the city and try and keep them from getting exploited and protecting the youth and that sort of stuff.
Okay. Chisobo, you spend a month, 2 months, 3 months out on the water, going from ship to ship, port to port. You see Australia. You see some of the west coast of America. You see a couple of places in Central America. And it's like 3 months in when one night something goes strange on the ship and people disappear. And you get your hackles up. You can tell something's going to happen. And you prepare yourself. But it's not enough when the ship goes down. And you find yourself in the water. And the last thoughts that go through your head as you feel these slimy hands grab your ankles and pull you down. What are those?
I wish I could kill one more.
And you probably do as you stab at them profusely, but there are a lot. As you're pulled down, and the breath is coming, or if the breath isn't coming, and you can't see your life going much longer, you hear this bubbly sound in your ear. You stopped it, but it won't stop. It's coming again. And that's when you see these unnatural lights below you and the city filled with deep ones. That's about that time that you lose consciousness. And you're never heard from again. Mr. Livengood, you spend your time in the outback. In the Canadian wilderness outback. You go to Australia. You got confused.
What? Oh, okay, I was like, wait, what?
You order some steaks and a blooming onion.
Yes.
Yeah.
You spend your time in the deep north, after murdering a tribe of Inuit cultists.
Sure.
Which
They were worshippers.
I mean
Not
I
murdering,
said cultists.
killing.
I said
Killing.
cultists.
Yeah.
After
and it's not murder if they
after
needed killing.
removing that taint from Canada, from your homeland.
Yeah.
A couple of months in, probably about the same time that Chisobo goes down with the ship, you shoot something in the middle of the night. You heard something seemed wrong, came out of your little cabin and laid into it with a rifle with your elephant gun. And then realized that going and finding out wherever that went, not a good time right now, but you could track it in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
You go back and hide in your cabin, keeping every candle lit that you can, your gun loaded. And light comes. You go out to find this bat-like creature. You see where it was hit, and it bled, and it drug itself. And it occurs to you that they're going to keep coming. They know where you're at. So you have to move. Where do you go?
Straight south towards the open plains of Texas.
Excellent. Ma, you spend your time in Cairo. You help rebuild parts of the mosque, or the buildings that are connected to the mosque. I think the mosque is the actual temple itself, and they were the auxiliary buildings that were damaged. You're welcomed by the brothers there, the Muslim brothers there, but it becomes very apparent to you that there are cultists of the Dark Pharaoh everywhere. Do you stay, knowing your life is in danger, or do you flee?
Stay.
It's probably 7 months in when you finally you're caught in a alley, helping some poor, feeding some men that can't feed themselves, and both ends of the alley darken as men with long serrated knives come, 4 or 5 on each end. Do you fight your way to kill them, or do you let them kill you so that no one else in the alley gets hurt?
I try and protect the others.
So you flee probably up a building. You can climb now, right?
Yeah.
You flee up a building, and they chase you and get them away from any of the other poor there. Eventually, you're tackled, restrained, and drug off. And it's about that time that Father comes out of an alley himself, fires a rifle shot into one, drops his rifle, and then shoots the other one that's kind of leading you, and grabs you quickly to run. Father, you spend your time in the that place in Rome, in Vatican City. You don't get to see much of the outside world for 6 months or so. They hand you books upon books about exorcism and driving out demons and chasing them and hunting them, and you learn all kinds of things. Nothing Cthulhu related, but you clearly have done a good enough job hunting things down and killing it that you need to be trained fully. And so you're given as many tools as possible. And then you're sent to Cairo, where they know that you are needed the best, or needed the most, to go, quote unquote, teach again, but to stay there waiting for when they need you.
I'm a soldier all over again.
Absolutely. And in someone else's army. And it's another month that you're there in Cairo that you hear rumor that Ma has been around, and he's been noticed by the local cults. And you're sent out to stop whatever's going to happen to him, and you finally see Ma being led off by 2 cultists who you quickly kill and save Ma. You bring him back to the cathedral there and rest up and wait. Eva, you spent 6 months in England, kind of just enjoying your time with Lord Wilkerson. You go on rides, you rest. He takes you to a couple of high society events. It's very nice. It's interesting. And then 6 months later, or 6 months into that, you realize it's probably about time to go home. But really, what brings you to that point is when the Lord gets a note from Italy that his son will be coming home. Reginald. And you realize it's time to leave.
She wouldn't leave.
You wouldn't leave? You would stay? Knowing
He's
full well.
dead.
Is he?
It's not him. I've seen what it really is.
Okay.
I would try to convince the Lord that this is not his son.
Lord Wilkerson tells you that you'll wait and see. If someone's impersonating his son, they'll come home and they'll find out. And if not, he'll send people out to find them.
Alright, I go to America, for God's sake.
Captain Wilkerson. You awaken. It's dark. It's very dark. You can see torches, or you can see the lights from torches that are flickering behind you, but you're laying down. Or not behind you, above you. But you're laying down. You're not restrained, but you're very weak. You can hear someone quietly chanting what you can only imagine is Arabic. You've heard it before. It sounds about the same. And then you feel a calm, warm hand pat you on the shoulder. And you hear it say, "Brother, it's time to wake up and join us." And he kind of scoops his hand under your shoulder and leans you forward to sit you up. Mm-hmm. Your head spins a little bit. You get that feeling of fainting. And as you're sat up, you're looking face to face with the gentleman that you killed and turned to sand. And your mind can't take that. You black out.
Yeah.
Sometime later, you wake up again.
Shakti?
Nice. You wake up again. And this time it's Shakti there, holding a bowl of water. You're still so very weak. And you're trying to push him away, but he's just being gentle, trying to coax you back to health. And it's too much exertion for you. You pass out again. You wake up again and again, and you keep going through these where you try and stop, but you realize as this happens that Omar Shakti is only trying to help you and make you well. Something has happened. They left you behind.
Who's left me behind?
Your friends.
Great. Okay.
Your quote-unquote friends.
Right.
Shakti tells you about the experiences that you've had. How you were led astray, that this is not the evil that is to come. In fact, time has passed. You've been in a coma for a year. That's what he tells you. And that the time has already passed for what you thought this cataclysmic event was going to happen. And the numbers and the dates don't sound right to you in your head.
Right.
But Shakti is very convincing.
I'd want to see the outside.
He takes you. They make you a stretcher. They carry you out and back in. You're far too weak to walk.
Oh, sure.
And they're trying to feed you, but they can only give you so much. And you know how it is with soldiers who really have seen the brink of death.
Right.
And they take you outside. And you're on his plantation. All the people there are kind to you. They welcome you. You don't see anything strange. It's just Omar Shakti and several of his Egyptian workers.
Okay.
As you get better, he begins having you sit in when he has business meetings. He's merely a merchant. But he tells you that something's coming and that you'll need to go home soon so that you can explain it to your father as well.
Okay.
He tells you that first he has to send you to Italy. And you should write your letter to your father from there. He has friends in Italy. And they'll take care of you.
Okay.
Until you're well enough to finish the travel. And so you get to Italy and you send your note home. You get a letter back from your father expressing his happiest regards that you're alive and well and that he would love to have you home.
All right.
So
Time to head home.
you flee to America, or do you stay?
No, you stay.
Yes, I stay. Because I'm going to shoot you in the face when you walk in the door.
No, you're not.
So you take your trip to England after another month or two. Eva, you have to wait for another couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. And the more you look at dates, Wilkerson,
Has it actually been a year?
from the time that you remember leaving, but no, in reality it hasn't.
Okay.
You've been re-indoctrined
Right.
to believe that you started earlier
Okay.
and that things coincide with the timetable they've given you rather than the actual timetable.
Okay.
So the cataclysmic event has already passed and nothing's happened.
Right.
You arrive home, driven there in a car from the port. You're helped out of the car and into a wheelchair.
Sure.
Still not quite strong enough to make that long walk yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And travel is very exhausting.
Absolutely.
And you're rolled in to see your father and a woman in a dress that looks familiar, but you don't quite recognize her.
And Ferguson?
Is pushing you in.
Oh, okay.
Ferguson
So he
was sent to get you.
I was going to say, is Ferguson the one that got me? Okay, good.
You were Ferguson came with a maid to
Sure.
help make sure everything was taken care of and you were well. And
Well, I feel better already. Get me some Ferguson.
so there's a young woman, standing in a dress, a proper English dress, and your father. And Eva, you see.
Does she look English?
Well, as English as any other Englishman looks. I mean,
Okay, all right.
her skin's a little tanner than you would expect.
Okay, then I'm not going to worry about it.
Eva, what you see is this shrunken, shriveled man. Imagine someone who's had terrible cancer and lost all of that weight and just bones and skin sitting across from you. He looks absolutely pathetic and defenseless. He tries to stand to shake his father's hand and he's shaky, and Ferguson gently forces him back into his chair.
And by forces him, it's probably puts a hand on his shoulder, and just the weight of resting that is like, oh, I can't do this.
Yeah, I got it.
Captain, you have no idea that you even look like this. You've seen mirrors, but it doesn't register. You keep seeing yourself as full and healthy.
Absolutely.
And vibrant.
I'm getting better. I'm not dead yet.
He looks like he couldn't hurt you if he wanted to. Do you introduce... And he doesn't seem to know who you are. He welcomes his father and shakes his father's hand as best as he can, and then goes into a coughing fit, much like Tiny Tim.
Oh, good night.
Much like the frog Tiny Tim from the Muppet Christmas Carol.
I would just observe him.
Do you introduce yourself? Because he doesn't seem to know you.
Like, why Wilkerson? Don't you know who I am?
No, miss.
I fought beside you many a day.
You don't remember any women in World War I. Not that fought next to you.
They didn't have women in the trenches, my dear.
I'm not talking about that war. I'm talking about in Cairo. And before that. And I would mention the places before that.
London.
London.
New York.
New York. Well, he wasn't in New York, was he?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Oh.
You remember London and New York? There wasn't a woman there. Well, there were women there, but
Right.
you don't remember
Not
that.
this one.
Definitely not this one. You went out with 5 gentlemen, all of high stature, on an adventure to stop the end of the world. You don't remember any of that.
He doesn't remember the whole trip?
He remembers the trip, just with different people.
Yes, there was Wentworth and Botticello and...
No, you don't remember those names at all.
Oh, I don't? What do I... Oh,
You remember-
I need my character sheet.
You remember Smith. And
Do I remember Weld?
Wellington. No, none of them. None of them.
Okay. Then I'm like, well, there was Carpenter, and there was Mackenzie, and there was Welly. You know, Wellington.
No, there was no such people as those you are mentioning. And I would look to his father and say, see what I'm talking about? This is not your son.
His father looks worried, but his son is sick.
I am telling you, they've done something to him.
Whatever they've done, a good Englishman will recover. Ferguson, help him upstairs into his bedroom.
Quite right.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to die in your sleep.
Stiff upper lip and all.
Later that
evening, would.
Later that evening, you are greeted by Ferguson. Madam, your presence is upsetting the young master. Perhaps it is time for you to head home. Lord Wilkerson has already arranged for your travel and a healthy stipend to make sure that your time in America is quite comfortable.
When am I leaving?
The car's ready.
Now.
Your clothes have been packed.
Is he not going to come and say goodbye to me?
Oh, he's waiting at the bottom of the stairs.
Okay.
You go to your room and a traveling dress has been left out. All of the rest of your things have been packed.
Mm-hmm.
You change.
Yep.
I assume you keep a Derringer on you at this point, just in case, because you can't strap on some guns in a dress. You go down to the bottom of the stairs, and Lord Wilkerson is sitting just inside the parlor reading a book, and as he sees you come down the stairs, he sets the book aside and stands. And you look at him, and his eyes have glazed over slightly. He says, "I am so sorry, but my son's health is my utmost concern, and the conversation you had about your group and his misunderstanding of that group has left him very upset. I must have him at his best. He must have the best chance to get healthy."
That is not your son. I cannot tell you how much I know that is not your son.
He looks like my son enough that I must help him recover. If you had children, you'd understand.
No, if I have a little sister and brother, I know. I am telling you, you cannot help this creature get well. It is what we went out to kill. It is what you helped us
No, that is
to defeat.
That is my son.
There's no dissuading you.
You're more than welcome to come and visit after he recovers. And you can stay as long as you want then. But until then, I have to have you...
At that point, I put my... I will interrupt him. I put my hand on his arm and I look at him in his eye. You will not be here when he recovers.
No, I will... I'm not even going back to the House of the Lords until my son is well.
No, you will be dead.
Miss McCrea.
When he recovers, he will kill this house.
Miss McCrea. I know, I have been quite polite. I'm very gracious. You are like a daughter to me. Were you this sick, I would send anyone away for you.
What?
This is my flesh and blood. I must take care of him.
I'll lean up and politely kiss him on the cheek and say, I'll leave you to it. I do hope I see you again.
In what can only be described as the most emotional thing that he has ever done, he leans forward and kisses you on the forehead.
I'm not going to shoot Mr. Wilkerson!
Lord
Wilkerson.
He didn't go to evil medical school to just be called Mr.
Nice.
So do I have a driver? There's this...
Ferguson is standing there. Like, you didn't see him walk up.
Ferguson.
You didn't hear him walk up, but suddenly Ferguson's there. And he says, Miss McCrea, your traveling coat. Shall we enter the car? Or go to the car?
leaving the house now, but when does my...
The boat leaves when you get there.
What do you do? Pay the boat to leave at night?
No, boats leave all the time.
Or yes. One or the other.
You take your coat.
Yes.
Ferguson walks towards the door, and that's when Sarah, you remember Sarah, who gave you your first bath. When you arrived here. Sarah,
I love Sarah now.
with one tear just streaming down her cheek, says, Mistress, I will miss you so very much. I hope that you come back to visit us so very soon. And then she hugs you.
I do hope so too.
You're let out to the car. The car drives off.
Mm-hmm.
Back to Southampton, where you were put on a very, very nice...
Does he stay there while I get out of the car and get on the boat?
Ferguson?
Yeah.
Oh, he helps you with your bags onto the boat. He waves from the from the dock.
Dang it.
We jump off.
Yeah, but with that much fabric on, you sink like a
I know.
freaking brick.
That's what I'm thinking.
You sail back to America? I mean, once you get back, you sail back to America. That's a statement of fact.
Southampton, where's the next stop?
America.
America.
Really?
Yes.
New York.
Yeah, New York.
Or an iceberg.
And it's not South. It's not Southampton. It's Southampton. It's one word.
Yeah. Not like, do we sail past the north side of Hampton? No, you don't, actually.
Actually, Northampton is also a thing.
Right, I know that.
Fine. I'm going to go get Weld, and I'm going to go get Ian, and we're going to come back and kick this guy's butt.
You arrive in New York,
'Cause
and we'll get to you in a moment.
they said he get attacked on the ship.
Livengood. You find work as a ranch hand in Texas. It's out in the middle of nowhere. You herd cattle here and there.
Yep.
Life goes pretty well. Until about 1935. And then the U.S. Army comes and finds you. To recruit you.
Yeah, I'm good.
They're headed up by a gentleman named Father... Crap, forgot your character. Grave.
Do you have a picture of Father Grave?
Oh no, he's there with them.
Oh.
And he's lost his collar. He's got his rifle on his shoulder the whole time. He looks a little harried. Like he's seen a couple of things that are a little rough. Mm-hmm. He walks with a slight limp. But he is as bright in the eyes as he has ever been.
And it is Father Grave.
Oh, it is Father Grave.
Oh, well then, I guess I'll get my things.
And as you start packing your things, that's when Ma comes in as well. Father, you and Ma have spent a year or two moving from place to place. You realize how dangerous it is, and the Vatican has given you leave to do as you need, and they will fund you as how they see fit. You find cults here and there, and you bring soldiers with you from whatever country you're in. The Catholic Church takes care of it. And you just kill them as fast as you can. You're welcome in places like France and England, Belgium, Spain. Although Spain gets a little hairy politically in the early 30s. Never ever really get into Germany again after World War I. You don't feel comfortable there. And they aren't super friendly with outsiders either. You eventually get hurt here and there. You spend your time resting and recuperating. You develop a limp. Ma, you see a lot of the world and realize that survival was one thing, but the only way to survive this is to kind of meet it head on. And if it's going to happen, it'll happen on your terms. But you and Grave seem to have someone watching out for you, either Allah or the Christian God. And eventually, things start to turn strange, and and politically in the world, and you end up in America where a general comes and finds the two of you and tells you that it's time to start recruiting people for such things and training them. And your time in the field is no longer necessary. Father, you're told by the Vatican that there's too much, there's too many embers in the fire in Europe. It's going to turn into a war, and America may be the only hope for that. So any training you can do there will only help later. And you are given leave. You are put on official leave, as far as the paperwork says, to do as however you need. They still send you a stipend every month and take care of you financially so you don't go hungry, but you're no longer technically a member of the Catholic clergy, or an active member.
So, does the U.S. government grant me citizenship? Or how exactly am I?
Well, like old infringement from the 1700s, you're given an equal rank within the American military arm, and you're given men to advise and train, and you're seen as an advisor, but with more authority than normally would be given. You are not given citizenship unless you ask for it. Do you ask for that?
Yeah, because I don't trust them to not toss me out with the bathwater when things go south. So I want to leave a trail.
You are granted citizenship and dual citizenship if you choose to keep your French citizenship, which is a strange, they don't do that very often kind of thing.
Right.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
In 1935, you're sent to Texas to recruit. They tell you someone that you might know.
You need to give me a name, or else I'm not going.
Livengood.
Okay.
You go out to Texas and find Livengood, the two of you. And Ma's not been your right hand, but he has been along with you, almost as a partner in this, all along the way. Mr. Weld, you wake up in your family's estates. You remember the white padded cells. You remember the questionable tactics that were used to treat you, shock therapy, all those terrible things that they did in the 20s. It's been a couple of years, though, that you've spent mentally unfocused. But your family realized enough to put Mr. Byrne also nearby. And as you come out of your mental distress, so does he. You realize that Eva has been staying nearby for the last few years. Watching over you almost. Checking in on you on a regular basis. Mr. Weld, where do you go from there? You have two of your friends, two that you brought in. What do you do?
Well, I've been an embarrassment to my family for long enough and brought them nothing but pain and suffering, and they've stood by me and taken care of me, so I think that it's time that I stop hanging out with lowlifes and ruffians and go and finish my degree and study ancient languages at Miskatonic University.
Nice.
And we'll continue to associate them only non-public.
Okay. So you move to Miskatonic.
Yeah, I'm going to become a good student.
Your family, your family's from Boston, so that's not too terribly far.
Right. But Harvard's got ill associations for me, perhaps.
Yeah, I can see that. Mr. Byrne, do you move as well to Miskatonic to stay near your former commander? Do you talk Eva into going somewhere else?
I I spend my time tracking down.
Monticello?
No,
Wentworth.
Wentworth. He disappeared after I had my episode. I gotta know where he went. But I don't ever leave the country unless there's a significant lead.
Okay. Eva, after you got off the boat, it hit the newspaper pretty quick that Lord Wilkerson had passed in the night, sick, but that his son had stepped in to take care of family business, although his older brother will be taking the lordship.
Of course.
Reginald will be handling the family business and interests. And you see a picture of Reginald,
And he looks fine.
and he doesn't look quite the same way he used to. He's still a little gaunt, but he has a sparkle back in his eyes. That one you used to see.
How long does it take me to get from there to there?
2 weeks. But again, you have two gentlemen in Boston that are mentally ill. Do you stay with them, or do you track down Lord Wilkerson's youngest son?
Wait,
I
I'm
just
sorry, do we
feel
backtrack? Am I?
We did. You're fine.
Yeah.
I hopefully know where Shirley's going, but we'll see.
I mean, my whole bit was I need more manpower because I'm not going to be able to do this on my own.
It is a couple of years before Weld and Mr. Byrne are even themselves again. And shortly after, Mr. Weld, after he gets better, decides that it's time to finish his degree and become respectable, but he keeps and stop associating with you and Mr. Byrne, but he keeps it very clear to you in private. Mm-hmm. It's more of a front for his family.
Should you need us?
and he moves to Miskatonic in in Arkham, Massachusetts.
Does the stipend stop because Lord Wilkerson's dead?
It actually doubles.
Yeah, no, the money doesn't stop. No.
I hate you. Well, the thing is, I wouldn't go back to like my duster and my cowboy hat. I would keep high society clothing and
during that 6 months, you probably got
high
enough
society
training
clothing.
to go to those high society balls
Yeah.
that you blend in well,
So
or at least well enough. So do you go to down to Arkham as well? Do you get an education?
It's what Lord Wilkerson would want.
Do you?
I mean, if Weld doesn't want me around, I'm not gonna try to follow him.
No. It's not. It's whereas before he might have invited you along to like his parents' dinner party to kind of like flaunt their nose at like here I am really sticking it to you in your conventions and your stupid ways. It's more like he will be very friendly and straight up tell you like I need to look a certain way and I cannot associate with certain people. You know, at the clubs and at the places, but we can have dinner, I can help you out, I can sponsor you at school should you wish to go down that route, but there's certain things I need to do to keep myself looking respectable.
And it is clear that
grounded.
I would, like, the conversation would go, what are your intentions after school?
I don't think we'll ever stop learning about these things.
I would go with him.
So the two of you spend a couple of years at Arkham, or at Miskatonic. You encouraged Mr. Byrne to join you down there as well.
And if he's searching for stuff, I would also any help or support from afar, like if you need stuff translated or whatever, would provide that for sure.
I would help.
There is no lead on Professor Wentworth. You get letters from Livengood, Father Grave, eventually, explaining what happened, and you trade letters back and forth. They're slow to come back, but Father Grave keeps talking about how he's been moving and changing. And
do they come back from various places?
yes, definitely. Different parts of the world, different parts of the states. And you get the idea that the last place he was seen is in Shanghai. But Brass Brady is there as well. And all that information is given to you as far as Brass not being
The bad guy,
a bad
after
guy.
all.
Yeah.
Because he was totally on my head.
Oh, no, that's fine. Do you head that way? It is a solid lead. If he's anywhere, he's there.
I try to contact Brass first. If he won't talk to me, then I'll go. But
About a month after... You're back in New York, right?
yeah,
About a month after you send out contact to Brass, there's a rap at your door, and you open it to find Brass Brady there.
oh,
It's a cold, rainy night, so he's a little drenched, but
we, I pour whiskey and have him tell me his story.
tells you that shortly after the group left, he also left China. It was dangerous,
Sure.
and that he left notes with a gentleman named Fergus McChum to send him a telegraph if anybody wrote him. He's been hiding out in Rangoon because it was a good story and might as well stay there.
And the crab there is magnificent.
Yes, the crab in Rangoon is phenomenal. And he tells you that if Wentworth is out there, he's in Shanghai, and since the evil has been ended, he's willing to accompany you there and stop whatever's left of Wentworth. If he's with if he's with the cultists, that's great. If not, to rescue him. And by that's great, he doesn't mean yay cultist, but like bang dead cultist.
Then yeah, Byrne disappears as far as his other friends know.
Yep.
And he and
You just leave a short note to them that you've gone off to find Wentworth.
no,
Nope, nothing.
nothing.
Okay. All right. Eva, you and Mr. Weld spend a few years at Arkham. Mr. Weld, you are offered the chance to teach. You know more than some of the teachers do about specific things, and you're given options to teach within the archaeology department. The architectural part, because you're really good with buildings.
I know what an arch is.
Yeah.
He can probably build some non-Euclidean arches.
Yeah.
Psychological. Good night.
I build buildings that make people go insane.
You build the heck out of a pyramid, or at least the capstone.
You take the position?
Yes.
And Miss McCrea, you were offered a position within the library to stay there as well.
They've got some crazy books in their library.
They have the best collection of books. I kid you not.
They've got the Necronomicon.
They really
One
do.
of like 5.
Yeah. Well, you guys have already seen one of the other ones.
I would plead with Weld to let's go take care of Wilkerson. Like, you're better.
Wilkerson died.
No, I would have told you. I would have told him everything.
You tell
I
him.
would
Don't
have
tell
told
me.
you
I'm not.
everything before we went to when you woke up.
Yeah, I was
we
there
went
when
to
he
school.
died.
No, before we went to Miskatonic, I would have told you. I was just at Wilkerson's 2 years ago, and he came home and he took over his.
You actually
thing.
were not there when he died. That was Ma.
Ma was there.
You had already gone crazy.
Yeah,
You and I were sent.
because you and
Was there 2 pyramids? Jesus.
yes,
There were like 12 pyramids, but yeah.
you
Yeah.
and Eva did it in the
Yeah.
Nyarlathotep throne.
Weldon,
Right.
Eva.
Where was... Refresh my memory, because where was the Nyarlathotep throne room?
That was in the Bent or Red Pyramid. I don't remember.
And then
The bent.
Byrne went crazy outside the other pyramid?
Yes.
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 No, inside, but
It's like,
So
I made it in the door.
when Ian and Weld wakes up, Eva would say, "I came from England 2 years ago. I've been waiting for you guys to get better," and Wilkerson was supposed to have died, but
Yeah.
he didn't. He came back, like. Who's the guy that we shot in the face in the Jeep?
Omar Shakti. He was not around for that either.
Oh God. It was the camels.
Oh, you mean Gavigan.
Gavigan.
Yeah, like Gavigan. And Wilkerson is not himself. He's one of those things.
Yeah, he's not Wilkerson.
I know.
Right.
So we have to go kill him.
Like you killed the other guy that came back.
I'm gonna go to the library for a minute and work on
We're not powerful enough for that.
Do you keep tabs on him through high society connections?
Oh yeah. In discussions with McCrea, you will understand that A, he is very scared. He will probably tell you straight up that he's very scared.
Mm-hmm.
But also that the two, even with Byrne, the three of us, would not be powerful enough to attack such an entity if it is what you fear it is. And that perhaps it is best to teach others about what we know. And so maybe some of the students that are particularly moral and particularly interested in certain things, he will try and teach them maybe with, if McCrea would like, her presence as well, about, hey, here's some creepy stuff. You really shouldn't learn how to do it, but you should probably know about it, so if you see it, you can kill it.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. But for him, the war is sort of over because he's shell-shocked, and also will tell you, like, he feels guilty about having led people to their deaths, essentially, and it is something that weighs very heavily on him. He doesn't want to take you there and have you die and live through that. That would be... He couldn't do that again.
I feel she feels defeated. She would feel very defeated. She wants revenge for Wilkerson. She feels guilty for leaving and not killing him that night. But then she realizes that Gavigan came back, twice? 3 times?
Gavigan came back once.
Once.
And we found out it wasn't Gavigan.
Yeah.
When we killed him again.
And Shakti came back once.
But she didn't know Shakti. Catherine knew Shakti.
That's true.
Well, we encourage you not to feel defeated, that as long as the spark of goodness and hope is kept alive, that, there's still hope.
You do get information that Captain Wilkerson has been seen in Germany with a young Egyptian lady on his arm. And they have been seen at several high society functions. They've been seen in presence of some of the leaders of the Socialist Party.
The National Socialist
the
Party?
National Socialist Party.
I got better.
And that he's making good connections, good diplomatic connections for England there. In such a war-torn and volatile country, it's only better for the world to have a son of England there helping guide it.
Helping get that poor, ravaged country back on its feet.
In 1935, Mr. Weld and Miss McCrea, you are contacted by the office of J. Edgar Hoover. There are strange things out there, and you two have experienced some and teach on them. They're aware of your activities, non-communist as they are, and you are recruited by the FBI.
We're Scully and Mulder.
Is he wearing a dress when he calls us into his office?
He's wearing a dress when he calls you, but when you get to his office, he's back.
He's back in the suit.
You can hear the ruffles.
Mr. Hoover, is that taffeta?
Captain Wilkerson.
Angora, please.
When Hitler takes the chancellorship, you are right there with him.
Of course I am.
Your brother disinherits you, but still your name carries certain weight.
In certain circles, I'm sure.
In certain circles. And that will do us tonight for Masks of Nyarlathotep.
Oh, mother of God.
Is that it?
We'll be back next week to kind of wrap up what the players thought of the game, the module, and then talk about, what we'd like to see in a movie.
But that's it. Like, that's the story.
That's the story.
We're sticking to it.
Until season 2.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try and talk somebody else into running a side quest for us so that Byrne and Brass can go off and have crazy antics. That'd be
I'm in.
awesome. So we will talk to you guys real soon. You can find us on Facebook and on Twitter. You can go over to patreon.com and find us there. Support us. You can go over to the website and sign up for the newsletter, and you can buy our shirts over at /loot. Don't forget to go over to iTunes and give us a 5-star review. Talk to you guys real soon.